a rational animal. This idea of rational animal prevailed for another 2000 years. In modern day social science, this idea came to be known as Homo economicus, or the economic man, which means given information, given data, a human being is self-centered, rational, and is able to and is capable of making the best decisions. If that is the case, then why facts don't always change human minds? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shiaz. I'm an IPS officer of 2020 batch, born out of Madhya Pradesh, Kerala. I grew up in the nearby town Alua, Kerala. When I grew up, this idea of education, rational thought, the power of reason, I always believed in that. My educational path also followed that. I did my graduation in psychology, then did a human resources management specialization in BA, and then went on to work in corporate before joining Indian Police Service in 2020. So when I joined police service, I had this belief that the power of reason would prevail, and man is always rational, and I can solve any problem with the kind of education I got, with the reasoning skills I got, and the rational that prevails in the fellow human beings. But fate took me as my first posting to a place called Gwalior. Gwalior is an Indian city in the state of Madhya Pradesh, a city which is having more than a 10 lakh population as per 2011 census. So it didn't take much time for me to realize that this human beings as rational animals only exist in the textbooks. The field, particularly for police officer, is a very brutal nature. Soon it taught me that the people who come into police stations or our offices, particularly in a high stakes environment or in a crisis, doesn't always act like rational individuals. So I've always seen people building up fences for their egos, resisting the idea of change or resisting whatever ideas are thrown at us. And in the next couple of minutes, I will narrate two experiences, two stories from my career in trying to answer this question, why facts don't always change minds. So let me narrate my first experience. So I went from here, Kerala to Madhya Pradesh. You know, the language is different, culture is different. Gwalior itself is a big terrain, different people, different culture, all together. It's entirely different world. So this is one experience which I had during my first charge. When I completed my training in the police academy, I took over the role of a DYSP, what you call here, a sub-divisional police officer. So you have a few police stations under you where you act as a supervisory officer. So a case came up. This case is very interesting. It's a love story. A girl and a boy fell in love, they allow. So it's very common, right? Youngsters, if they think that their family is going to grow their relationship, they would allow. This happened in this case also. But the difference is that in this love story, the boy and the girl, or the young man and the lady, has allowed twice. When the girl first allowed, she was a minor. I think you know the definition of minor. Any individual under the age of 18 is a lady. She is treated as a child. So when she was a child, as per law, she eloped with the boy, slightly older. He is 19-20 years old. So she was 5-6 months away from turning 18. So she is technically a minor. She eloped with this boy, and with the help of the police, the family got up, tracked them down. The boy was sent to jail. The girl was brought back home. This is the first incident. Then later on, once the girl turned 18 years, exactly 5-6 days after she turned 18, she allowed again. And this time everything was very meticulously planned and executed. She, along with her So they went traveling around the North Indian states. They would travel hundreds of kilometers if they want to make a phone call. So they would move into Maharashtra, would make a phone call, then come back to Madhya Pradesh again. So we send the teams to Maharashtra only to come back empty handed. So this continued for quite some time. Our hero, the main character I would like you to focus is not the girl or the boy, but it's the father. The girl's father was very adamant in pursuing the case. Every alternate day, he would turn up at my office door, or he would either go to my superintendent of police and ask about the progress in the case. Where is my daughter? Where is my daughter? What is happening in my case? So, if somebody has decided to vanish themselves, it is very difficult to track them because they would cover everything. They would not leave a trace. So that happened in this case because when they got arrested earlier, they knew how police would track. So this time they were very clever. They didn't allow us to get through. But the father didn't understand. He wouldn't listen. Every alternate day he would come. So Gwalior is part of those areas in our country where honor killings are not very rare. So I was very concerned. I decided, let's sit with this guy and just sit with his father and hear him out. So I called him into my office. I didn't have to call, he already reached. So I made him sit down and discuss. The problem here. So I asked him, what is your problem, sir? What better we can do? Why are you so aggressive in pursuing your daughter? We are already investigating. What can we do if they are not leaving any trace? The next few moments, I had the most regressive dialogues or conversation until then in my life. He spoke of something which he called family honor. He talked about the caste pride. He said that if he gets his daughter back, he would counsel her how she and her family is superior to vis-a-vis the boy. I understood that the problem mainly stems from the fact that the boy belonged to the so-called lower caste according to their father. And the girl devastated his family's pride by running away with the boy. So that was his primary concern. So what did I do? I did what I best could do. I offered him my 2 cents of logic. I talked about the autonomy of a person. The girl who is now 18 is capable of making her choices. The idea of caste, pride, family, honor, all of these are for the past. It doesn't hold any value in this modern time. All these things I made a 10 minutes conversation with him based on the logic, I reasoned out with him. He simply listened to me, he nodded his head, he didn't say a word, and last he stood up. I thought I succeeded in convincing him. I assumed that I will not see him the next day. Exactly, I didn't see him the next day, he didn't come to me. Instead, he went to the High Court of Madhya Pradesh, he filed an habeas corpus petition, alleging that the police is doing nothing to track his daughter. So what happened? My 2 cents of logic and reasoning backfired. Coming to the second story, this happened a year later. I got promoted. I became the additional SP in charge of crime branch. So we have a cyber cell in our unit where people who got defrauded by scamsters would come, they file complaints, we take FIRs. So a lady is a housewife, well educated. I think she was an engineer. She walked in. She was actually referred to me by a friend of hers. She is from a well-respected family, married. Her mother is a doctor. So the daughter came to my office and said she is facing some issues with the investment she has made. So I asked her, what is the investment? How you came to know about it? She mentioned I got to know about this investment from Telegram app. The moment I smelled it is a scam. So as a usual practice, I assigned an officer to speak to her and understand what the specifics of the case and then ask her to file a complaint. So she was directed to is very experienced. He knew similar cases, similar victims. So the lady is saying, I can see on my screen there is balance. I am making profits, but I am not able to withdraw. They are saying I have to pay clearance money, tax, everything. So somebody said I am being scammed, but I don't think so. So the officer calmly told him, ma'am, you are being defrauded. This is a typical Telegram investment scam. We have other victim fake IP addresses, so on and so forth. Ma'am, please, could you file the FIR? We will investigate. She said, I will come back. She didn't come back. The next day, the second day, she came back, this time with her family, after a week. So, when she first came, she displayed her screen in which 70 lakhs was invested. After a week, she invested 10 lakh more. So the total amount is 27 lakh is being scammed out of that educated, well-educated housewife. So I got curious. Why did you give another 10 lakh when we have clearly told you that you are being scammed? Her reply was that I was hurtful. I sincerely believed that the application, the investment scheme was really not a fraud Ponzi scheme, and I wanted to prove your officer to be wrong. So, first case is not of a father whose identity or the so-called pride got hurt when I offered him logic. Second is a lady whose idea of a smart investor sitting at home who is how to invest their friends and husband. Her image of that smart investor got attacked, and she just paid 10 lakhs just to prove as wrong. First case, the father escalated. Second case, she put money in a vessel which had a hole in the bottom. So why do people resist evidence even when it is meant to help? This is what we are going to discuss today. Psychology offers a counterintuitive answer to this, underlying the fact that man is not always irrational. So we will talk about cognitive biases. Imagine your brain, or think of your brain as a high-powered computer, which is very efficient. It gives you split-second decisions or solutions. To do that, you need to conserve energy. And to conserve energy, you use a certain shortcuts, mental shortcuts. So, our brain, to process this very complex world, uses similar kinds of shortcuts which psychologists call heuristics. Heuristics are nothing but the mental shortcuts our brain uses to make sense of this complex world. Sometimes glitches would happen when we use this heuristics, like a computer makes glitches. Our brain also makes glitches. So, cognitive biases understand that cognitive biases in simple terms are the glitches that would happen when the heuristics fail in making sense out of the complex world. There are several types of heuristics. Confirmation biases are listed 2-3 here. One is confirmation bias. You would actively seek out those information which satisfy your beliefs and expectations. If you scroll your Instagram or Facebook, you will be getting those feeds which you are very interested in. Because the algorithm works in that fashion. They know that this is what you are. Your political views is this, your interest is this, the kind of news you want to read is this. So, based on your confirmation, based on your scrolling behavior, the system has understood that this is what is to be shown to you. Similarly, our brain actively pursues those evidence which supports your viewpoint. For example, a smoker would actively seek out those evidence which would support that smoking doesn't cancer, or he would even say that there is no evidence, positive evidence that smoking is a cause of lung cancer. So, like that, he would try to find out those evidences that confirm this belief, that is confirmation bias. Second is motivated reasoning. People process information. This is a subconscious way in which we process information so as to protect our identity or our worldview. You might have seen political heroes who against their leader, they continue to defend them. So they reason them, they discount the evidences against them. This is what we call motivated reasoning. The topic of the day, the topic of this event, backfire effect, is an outcome of this motivated reasoning, or it can be seen as a subtitle of this confirmation bias. So backfire effect, it came out in a research done by Jason, sorry, I forgot the name, two researchers in the United States, Nyhan and Riefler, in 2010 studies. They were studying political misinformation. So when people encounter evidence that contradicts their beliefs, those beliefs which are very deeply held, they do not change their minds. People, when they get contradicted by evidence which is against their belief, they do not change their minds. At the same time, instead, their already held beliefs getting strengthened. This is an interesting phenomenon, and made by these two people in their research, and which they name backfire effect. So when you try to correct someone, your act of correction would strengthen the person's existing beliefs. Simply put, your act of correction just backfires. So look at this diagram. You had a strong belief, and there is a contradictory evidence coming, facts that challenge your belief, which creates a feeling of discomfort, a feeling of rejection, dissonance in your brain. So you get alert, and that this emotional discomfort leads to your